Hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar today. Um, today, I'm going to talk about the fail-fast approach and why it is so important for SDLC, right? So that's the topic of the day today. Thanks again for joining. So, as in the IT, in the IT or the business folks, everyone knows, what it takes in order to deliver a application or a release into production, right? So there's so many things that has to happen in the background, over the course of SDLC, right? From requirements gathering through production, right? So all the people, business folks, IT folks, everyone are involved in getting this idea or something that we want to implement from the requirements or idea phase through production. So, and while doing so, one of the major core area of it to that ensures that no or less bugs are introduced into when we release a product into production. We want our application or systems to be working as intended, right, without any bugs or without any major bugs or as much as bug free as possible. So zero bugs, that's an illusion. I would say, but in general, at least the critical issues shouldn't be occurred in production that the business has been hampered, right? So I'm saying all this because what there are multiple things, multitude of things that can assist you in getting there bug free, quick fail fast or fail fast approach is, or people call shift left approach as well. So what is it? What is it, and why is it so important, right? To achieve faster time to market, ROI, so that image that you're seeing, infographic there, itself gives you a good idea of what I'm talking about, right? So when you talk about bugs in production, it costs a lot, right? So the graph itself shows you, bugs can be found from as early as requirements gathering and as late as production or post production, which everyone, none of the companies want that to happen, business or IT, right? And in between, you have design, unit, functional regression testing, integration, acceptance, user acceptance, and release to production. So along the phases of SDLC, the earlier you catch, the bugs, is basically you are failing the code that you have deployed into your dev environment or into QA or into pre-prod or into UAT, so on, so whatever environment it might be. So you are failing fast, you as soon as you can, right? So that is the whole idea. And the sooner basically the systems are tested quickly earlier, it improves productivity, and it reduces, dev QA cycle will be reduced, and rework or bug fixing can also be done earlier. So better to fail fast of any development than later on when the product is about to be released, right? So how you do that? You have a lot of tools to first thing, early on is automation testing, unit testing, which is also should be automated, integration, function testing, all that has to be automated as much as possible. I would say 100%, if not 100%, as much as possible. And focus on that. So that principle makes software bugs easier to detect, and earlier in the development cycle, and for faster strengthening of the code under development, and limiting the bugs that can make into production. So zero bug again, as I said earlier, illusion, but then it reduces the intrinsic cost of letting the bug in the code in production, right? So that is why we want to do a fail fast, right? Okay, so how you can implement, or how can you kind of follow this principle, right? Fail fast approach, right? So basically, you have to test everything, test early, test continuously. Most importantly, you need to accomplish all this. You have to involve the team very, very early on. Very, very early on. So prevention rather than detection, right? So early on, when I say the automation teams, we have done so many projects where we have ongoing projects, ongoing application. There we got in from test automation perspective, Silo Tech, and we go in there, and then Scrum teams are doing their thing, and then the automation team, or mostly manual work, they are doing their testing. There's so much of disconnect between them, and the releases, and the last minute, it's a chaotic atmosphere, right? So the last minute changes come in, and then someone does manual testing, and then peripheral testing and all that, and you basically, not every stone is unturned. So you have there underneath those stones, probable bugs, right, that are going to leak into production. So what we do, first we do, we cannot test everything, right? When realistically, when you're trying to do it, when you're starting, fail fast approach is approach that is that can be achieved with CPI, constant process improvements, right? So it cannot be like, you have to start somewhere and you need to get there. So along the way, a lot of things will help you. So to focus on the first customer requirements and to improve the customer experience, right? So first, the testing automation team needs to engage early in the system, right from the project initiation. Okay, if the project initiation did not happen, or it happened long time, and you want to involve, so as soon as you can. So please, that's a rule of the thumb. The people, not processes. So first, people have to be empowered. They have to be knowledgeable on the business flows, the system that is being developed, so that and the requirements, right? So they can also provide useful inputs, and planning the efficiency in return, right? So the testing team has to work with the rest of the team, and guiding the team, and it's like collaboration. The collaboration, they need to review, analyze the requirements, so that they can bring into the automation, right? So only then you have some solid automation, so that is very much modular, and that has to be very modular, so that it can be less painful to maintain, right? So that's automating your kind of test driven development makes a fundamental difference for your releases, right? So that being said, the new code has to be checked into repository, like every hour, whenever it is some changes has been done, that has to be checked in, compiled, and then built, then smoke test has been run, and then after the execution, then the report of these can be troubleshoot, looked at, so that early on, so that all these things has to happen early on, so that you don't want to wait until the UAT, or just before the UAT, just compile some automation set, and then execute and move to UAT, and then it's all problems for the future, right? So that kind of the culture has to be adopted. That kind of a thought process mindset has to be there. So that that principle of failing fast makes the software bugs detect earlier in development cycle. So that that's the kind of a approach that we want to take, right? So some of the constraint I talked about earlier, in few pointers, I would say, and there's so many other things that impacts the fail fast approach. Again, you have to take that baby steps kind of thing. Not some of the main constraints. Sticking to just UI testing or not focusing on a scenario or flow based testing. So that's where when you have people, the team involved early on, they understand the scenarios and the flows. The UAT flows has to be documented, communicated to the team early on, because this is the business requirement. This system has to function this way. The flow has to happen. If there's some kind of workflow involved, what is the workflow? So all those inputs will strengthen the automation team to come up with or to develop a better, solid automation suite, right? And then insufficient test data set. So all these things I'm talking about are related to test automation. Why? Because if you are doing manual testing, if I am doing manual testing, I would test with one data set and I'm good to go. Okay, this is working fine. The flow is working fine. Pass, and move on, right? But there are so many variances in the data that might cause the failures or the defects, right? So the mostly occurs due to the data itself. What kind of there's a wrong set of data used. Obviously, the system should behave certain. There should be some catches, errors, and it should not let the garbage in. All those things has to be tested. All the permutation combinations of the data set has to be tested through, and that is only possible with automation, right? It cannot imagine testing that manually. It's again failing fast. It's a far sight, but it's you cannot even do the release, because you can never finish the testing. And then having the data sets and test suites separate, right? And which is basically if you have framework, the platform that you're using, it has to have the test suite and the test data set clubbed together, or it has to have the test execution file as well as the data file, right? Test data file. So it has to traverse through both and pick and choose what data it has to take for the particular scenario and execute. Then moving on, non-modular testing. Again, if you have a non-modular automation, then it's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare for maintenance. So there's small change in flow, and then if it's not modular, you have to first go through the whole script again, basically from scratch, and it's as good as developing from scratch. So I've done that. We have done that. We have seen people do it, and it is not sustainable. It is basically you run the automation, and one time for that release, and then some change, some breakage, some fix, then you have to redo again. So you have to be modular. You have to have your test scripts modular. The design is modular. And sticking to, again, that's a repetition again, UI testing is important, but then it comes in the later phase. First is, you have to make sure the core functionality is working as intended, and then you can, look at the UI aspect of it. So those are the constraints that can fail fast, slow down the fail fast approach, and you have to think through, and only a solution or the solution that can help better is having a test automation. So, having said that, the Test Ensure, is the platform what Silotech we have developed in house, is with lot of experience, with experience from doing automation projects. We have come up with this platform that kind of addresses a lot of pain areas that our team have experienced, using paid tools, or the licensed version tools, or open source tools as well. So there are so many gaps. So what we have done, we went back and sat and we listed down all the pain areas, and basically created a platform and a framework that has addressed at least the core pain areas of having being able to do a modular test creation, easy test execution. So you don't have to go through execution, painful execution, run through the code. So even non-developer will be able to execute, or be a business analyst, or even business folk can execute the test. So that kind of a platform we have developed, where when you have fail fast, we should be able to fail fast, and then we should be able to the right people, the development team, should be able to view what has failed and do the troubleshooting, should be able to look at the error report, the error screenshot, where it failed, what has failed. All that report generation has to be in there as well, and the transparency of it. So any time of the day, you want to, when you say fail fast, early on, test more, test all the time. That is possible with automation, right? So you can schedule it every night. You don't have someone to sit there and do the execution, right? So you can schedule it, and you can overnight, so say every night at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, I'm just saying, you can get that job will be kicked off. These are the releases that are going in. These are the projects. So you can pick and choose the project and create the automation run, schedule it, and boom, there you go. It executes, and the results will be updated real time. And then whoever has to take a look will be able to take a look at the reports. So these are the tools that can help fail fast, quickly, early on. So some of the things that help, or that what Test Ensure has to offer, are the requirements management, in the sense where you can organize your tests. So where you can upload. So you have a project, you create a project, and then you upload the project has a number of modules, and each module will have a number of flows. So each flow will have a flow script, as well as a test data. So all that can be uploaded to this, and then and can be reviewed later as well, right? And then updated. So, and then it's a low code kind of a test repository. Then I talked about modular reusable test, which is highly scalable, easy maintainable, kind of one-stop shop, where you don't have to look. You come to Test Ensure. That's where you'll find all your test data, test cases, and then as well as execution management and tracking. All that can be available for an end user, right? And then it has a scalable parallel test execution. So all these points I'm talking about will help you to fail fast, or achieving the fail fast approach. At least these are all the things that can be help achieve that. So then the dashboard and traceability, so which is very, very important, where you can see your test execution, each and every step, the actions taken, and the error reports, the error screenshots, all that stuff, all that information, data, metrics will be there for the review. of the team and for the management as well. And then analytics can be built on top of, where there can be a predictive analysis can be done, looking at the data of your execution data with the past for the release. You have like some of the modules you have the most number of bugs, so that means and then it will predict you that in the future also, this is the weakest link where there is a point of failures are more, right? uh, so that kind of a visibility will be there. And then again, this is one more most important, or one of the most important feature is the tagging and rerun feature, where, for example, you have like a 5,000 regression test cases, and you want to fail fast. It is totally unrealistic, or it's impossible to, even with automation, execute all the 5,000 test cases, right? So you would do that for regression, but then you want to do a multi iterative execution. So what I mean by that? So what I mean by that is, so you, as everyone does, you have a different, P1, P2, P3, different categories of your test cases, right? So based on the priority, severity of the functionality that you want to be tested, the core flows, will be the first set of scripts that are going to be built, and then the second level, so on so forth, P1, P2, P3, so on so forth, right? So you, for each test case, there is a tag that can be added, not a tag. You can have multiple tags, right? And associated with the tag. And then when you want to execute, you can execute, I want to execute all the P1 plus I want to execute all the tags that are, say, chargeback, or payment. Payment is a tag, or credit card is a tag, or something like that. I'm just saying, in a banking, or claim. It can be insurance. Claim can be one of the tag. So what I'm trying to say is, only those test cases associated with the tag will be picked up and executed, not the whole set of 5,000. Maybe in that you have a subset, P1 of 200, and then the matching tags, that would be maybe 20. So those can be executed. So you are testing very early, very quickly,